Chapter 6. Xianxia jumped onto the branch of a sycamore tree, squinted his eyes and looked at the sunlight leaking through the gaps between the leaves. He used his current furry paws to push his ears, found a comfortable position to lie down and yawned. In the afternoon of September the sun was just right, suitable for an afternoon nap. Xianxia was a cat but he used to be a real person. He didn't understand what was going on but he woke up like this. A strange city, a strange house, strange people, a strange and even more despairing new identity, a magnified world and an era back in 2003. Xianxia didn't like cats before and even hated them. He always felt that cats were on the same level as crazy creatures, but now he himself had become such an animal. Retribution? Xianxia admitted that his style wasn't very good. He had bullied the weak, set a few fires that weren't very big and didn't do his job properly. He had once lived a life of luxury and drunkenness, but at least he hadn't killed anyone. Using his own moral values that he had kicked in the corner for as long as he could remember, there were many people who were worse than him. Why did he have to be the one suffering retribution? Was he at a loss? Was he at a loss? Was he angry? Was he in despair? In the face of an incomparably clear reality, everything seemed to be useless. For his once indulgent life, Xianxia could only comfort himself with a sentence. When the wind blows away the eggshells, the wealth is gone and the people are happy. 3 months had passed, a quarter of a year had passed, and the wheel of nature had turned 90 degrees. Xianxia's mood when he first came here had calmed down, and he gradually became familiar with it. Sometimes being unambitious and muddling along was a rare state of mind. This was the century-old famous university, Tsinghua University, which ranked first among the universities in the central region of Wuxia. The advantage of a century-old famous university was that the area was large enough, and the greenery was in place. Occasionally students would walk on the road under the tree. The atmosphere here was quiet, but it didn't lose its vitality. Xianxia closed his eyes for a while in this good atmosphere, and was awakened by the sound of dogs barking. Xianxia's ears twitched. He didn't need to look to know which two people were causing a ruckus. About 100 meters away from Xianxia, a brown chihuahua was barking at a camphor tree. On the branch of the camphor tree stood a cat with black and white fur. The cat was wagging its tail and barking at the tree. On the surface, this situation was very common, and pet owners often encountered this situation. However, the difference in the current situation was that both the dog and the cat were barking. The cat's name was Sheriff. It was 8 months old and slightly smaller than Xianxia. It got its name because its fur color was very similar to the black cat Sheriff in the cartoon. At the same time, this cat was also one of Xianxia's bad friends after he turned into a cat. This cat had 2 characteristics. One was that it was aggressive and didn't care about its life when it fought. The other was that it could bark like a dog. When Xianxia first saw Sheriff, it was squatting on a 1-meter-tall landscape stone and barking at the chihuahua. When Sheriff noticed that Xianxia was looking at it, it slowly changed from barking to meowing. In fact, Sheriff's dog language wasn't standard at the time, and it was a bit out of place. However, as the days passed, the dog language became more and more authentic. Most people couldn't tell if it was real or fake. When the cat was tired, it would stick out its tongue and pant like a dog. Therefore, Xianxia often wondered if there was a dog's soul living in the cat's body. Xianxia didn't pay attention to it anymore. He yawned and continued to sleep. He wasn't worried about Sheriff's safety at all. Sheriff and the Chihuahua had been fighting since they were young, so it was very experienced. Why did Sheriff always have a problem with the Chihuahua? The reason was that the Chihuahua was the smallest pet dog in the East Side family compound. Pick the fresh fish to eat and pick the soft persimmons to pinch. Even cats knew this. Xianxia slept all the way until the bell rang for the end of the 3rd period in the university's teaching area. She stretched herself and slowly slid down from the tall Chinese parasol tree. Trot along the walkway, then through a peach grove and you'll see a wall. This was an elementary school attached to Tsinghua University. Many of the children of the staff and family members went to school here. It was convenient for parents to pick up and drop off their children. Xianxia jumped on the wall and looked at the classrooms on the 2nd and 6th floor. He then walked along the wall towards the school gate. Xianxia waited on the wall about 20 meters away from the school gate. 7 to 8 minutes later, the bell rang for the end of class. It wasn't a sharp bell but a lively and cheerful music. It was very human-like. A little girl wearing a floral dress and carrying a Hello Kitty backpack walked out of the corridor. She looked towards Xingtan as soon as she came out of the staircase. Seeing Xingtan squatting on the wall, the little girl's emotionless eyes lit up and she ran towards him. Brother Yuan said that they have a quiz in the last period. We might have to wait a little longer. Before the little girl could finish her sentence, Xingtan saw a person rushing out of the staircase. He was dragging his school bag like a sack and his hair was messy like a chicken's nest. He ran straight towards them with a smug smile on his face. He made a victory sign in the shape of a V at Xingtan and the little girl. It seemed that this kid did well in the quiz in the last period. The boy's name was Zhao Yuan. He was the child of the family that had adopted Xingtan. He was in the 6th grade. The little girl's name was Gu Yuzi. She was Zhao Yuan's cousin. After her parents divorced, Jiao Ma brought her back from abroad for some reason. She lived with the Jiao family and was now in the 2nd grade of Chu University-affiliated primary school. Zhao Yuan took Gu Yuzi's school bag from her. The two of them and the cat left the school gate and walked towards the Eastern District family compound. Look, Zhao Yuan's cat is here to pick them up again, someone said. Most of the people they met on the way were already used to this scene. It had been 3 weeks since school started, and it used to be an interesting topic for people around them after meals. The Eastern District family compound wasn't far from the affiliated primary school. They arrived in less than 10 minutes. The Jiao family lived on the 5th floor of Block B of the Eastern District family compound. There was a security guard at the entrance of every building. Zhao Yuan touched his keychain to the door, and the iron door opened with a ding sound. There was a small round tag on Zhao Yuan's keychain. This was the key for the security guard. Almost everyone who lived in the Jiao family building had one. Xingtan also had one around his neck. However, this one was a little special. Xingtan's face was pasted on the front of the round tag, and the Jiao family's home address and contact number were pasted on the back. The Jiao Pa had specially made the key card and the pet tag into one. When Xingtan entered the building, he looked at the balcony of a family on the 1st floor. He didn't see the fat guy. He guessed that the fat guy had been taken to visit relatives again. At this time of the day, the Jiao family's door was always open. After all, it was the Jiao family building. There were security guards and security cameras at the entrance. It was much safer than some of the apartments outside. Jiao Ma was cooking and there were sounds of people talking in the living room. Then I'll have to trouble you with the advertisement. Xingtan stopped in his tracks. He was familiar with this voice. It was the owner of a pet store near Tsinghua University. His surname was Gua. His brother was a veterinarian. Xingtan's vaccine was given by his brother.